I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, October the 9th, and calf season. I'm not calving season, but calf season. The calves are coming to town, and last week we saw a big swell of calves, and our receipts, auction receipts nationwide were a lot heavier, and they're just coming to town all over the place. And I think we're going to see some demand to meet those calves. A lot of guys are waiting on them, waiting for the big strings where they can pick through them. But if you've got some high-risk cattle, some unweaned fleshy cattle, and without any shots, and maybe the bull's not worked and things like that, you might want to prepare yourself, because as the runs get bigger, these buyers can get more selective and they'll just pick around on what they want. But you look at the board for last week, December live cattle ended the week at $116.92. That was up $1.67 for the week. November feeder cattle ended at $155.75, up $1.75 for the week. Your cattle feeders were able to gain a little more ground again last week, and a lot of naysayers thinking that this thing were doomed to get lower. But these packers are making a lot of money, and they want to continue to harvest these things pretty aggressively, and so they're going to have to pay up for them. But even though we entered a new month and had supposedly a lot of contract cattle that the packers could pull in, they had to give $1 to $1.50 more for fats last week. They waited till Friday late, did a lot of after hours trade on Friday. We don't know how heavy a volume, but it seemed like late Friday they were selling them pretty swiftly, and I think we'll have a decent clearance of the show list from 109 down in the southern plains predominantly to 110 up in Nebraska, and especially out western Nebraska, Wyoming, Colorado, places like that, and that would have been $1.50 higher. But your slaughter for last week was fairly good. It wasn't nearly as good as the slaughter the previous week when we set that record for 2017, but just 16,000 off of that, and that's not going to make or break anybody. And the slaughter for last week was 22,000 more than the same week a year ago. Real-time index on Beef Market Central ended the week at 153.76, actually down 42 cents for the week. But that was mostly due to your big fleshy calves weighing in the sevens getting into the RTI, and that's always going to pull it down a little bit. But actually your true yearling feeder market for last week was firm to $3 higher for the week. Calves though were kind of steady to $3 lower, as people were still kind of holding back. But we're starting to get into the calves now, and I think that there'll be enough demand for them now that the wet weather has kind of cleared out of the southern plains. They can start thinking about getting calves in ready to straighten up for this wheat. And the guys up north, more and more of them are getting their crops out, and there'll be a lot of them farmer feeders don't mind feeding a big fleshy calf, and they'll be picking around on those, the real high quality ones. But you look at a market out east late in the week on Friday at 10:30 in the morning. Bluegrass Stockyards in Richmond, Kentucky had 65 steers weighed 726 at 162.95. That's your feeder flash for Monday.